Every time I come on social media, I see more and more people interested in the subject of becoming a content creator. And while I think it's an amazing field, I decided to make a video on what you should know before becoming a content creator, just so you know what you're getting yourself involved in, so you can really consider and count the cost. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the first tip, and I know that this might be a bit controversial, but personally, I don't believe that you really need to define a specific niche. Actually, I think it more so depends on what your goal is. Like for me personally, I like working with different brands, and I don't want to limit myself to, just fashion. A lot of people know me as posting a lot of modest fashion things, but sometimes I want to post a little about beauty. Sometimes I want to post a little about food. I like to cook, I like to bake, and I like to work with different food companies as well in that area. So if I solely post content about fashion and clothes and beauty, then all these other brands aren't necessarily going to want to work with me because my creation isn't tailored to what they're looking for. But if you are truly passionate about a certain area like beauty or fitness or even finances, then definitely niche down. You can build a loyal following on people who love the things that you love. And at the same time, it's really cool to be known as the content creator who does such and such. Like, let's say example, I'm trying to think of a new dinner idea. I want to switch things up a bit. I know that there are certain content creators who are always putting out consistently great recipes. So if I have an idea, or I need an idea rather, I know whose page to go to. If I am thinking about switching up my gym routine, maybe I'm tired of doing the same things, there's content creators who put out information like that. I know to go to their page. So it's great to be known as the content creator of such and such. But again, it's all depending on what you want and what your goal is. Personally, I don't want to be known as just one particular thing. I have different goals when it comes to my social media platforms. So you really just need to sit down and think about what is it that you want for your channel? What is your ultimate goal? Who is it that you are trying to reach? Is it a specific target audience, or do you want to reach a variety of people? So that's something that you want to think about too. Next, you need to understand the commitment. Listen, today, I didn't want to make a video. I was literally on the couch talking to my dog, and I was telling him I didn't feel like creating a YouTube video today. I don't. But I said to myself, but you need to. You have goals. You need to be consistent. Consistency, that's the key to growth. I think a lot of us, we look at some of our favorite content creators or YouTubers. We think of the Monet Michaels, we think of the Emilys, we think of the Alex, or we think of all these people, and we don't realize or recognize the amount of time and effort it took for these creators to be where they currently are. All we do right now, all we are seeing is the fruit of their labor, but it took them years to get to where they are now. Some of my favorite vloggers on YouTube, I like watching, like, for example, Riss and Quan. They've gathered so many subscribers. I think they have like close to 3 million. Oh no, they do have 3 million. It surpassed 3 million. But then when I look at some of their old videos, I'm like, wow, they really came a long way. They came from such humble beginnings to now living a lavish lifestyle. And it's like a lot of us see those things. We see the income that you can acquire with this lifestyle of vlogging. We see the brand. It's like we see the fruit of people's work and discipline, but it's like we don't want to put in that effort. A lot of us, it's like we see these people and we think this is something that can be achieved overnight or in a month or 2 months, and that's not the case realistically. In the beginning especially, content creation involves a lot of brainstorming. It's a lot of filming, it's a lot of editing. If you want things to be on point, like, it takes some time, it takes a lot of effort, especially if you work a 9 to 5. Let me tell you, I come back from my 12-hour shift as a nurse and I start filming my videos usually in the morning. And when I tell you, even though I'm tired, it's something that I know I have to do because I have goals. It's not easy, but you have to remember why you started. You want to make sure that you're creating content regularly so people have some type of idea when to expect your content. For me personally, my goal is to put out I'm putting up 4 fingers, put out 2 long form videos a week. Realistically, I think that's something that I can achieve, 1 to 2. And my goal is also to put out a short every day or every other day. I'm not always consistent in that, and that's something I know I need to work on more. But yeah, it's a lot of editing, it's a lot of filming, it's a lot of trial and error. And I think a lot of us just get so frustrated because we put in all these hours sometimes in editing. Sometimes I'll be on Threads and I'll see people say, oh my gosh, this took me hours or days to edit this and I only got X amount of views. So keep doing it anyway. Keep doing it anyway. Like, have such a joy for what you're doing that doesn't even bother you. Like, the views and subscribers, that will come in time. But if you're posting content solely just to get 1,000 views a video instantly, like, you're just you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like, you got to be realistic. In the beginning, I think it's so important to have short-term goals. Like, okay, for this week, I want to put out 2 videos. For this week, I hope to gain at least 10 subscribers. For this week, I plan to, whatever your short-term goal is. Like, stop. I don't mean to say this in a negative way of don't aim big, but in the beginning, you want to remain realistic. I think it's very crucial to have long-term goals. Like, I have goals of where I wanted to be at the end of the year. Like, my goal was to become monetized on YouTube, and I'm so glad that I achieved that goal. But I also had short-term realistic goals that I know I could check off if I put in the work. So be real with yourself and be patient with yourself. Things aren't gonna happen overnight. Next, you wanna kind of develop your brand and have a sense of uniformity when it comes to your content. Like, for example, if you want to be a YouTube content creator, there are certain YouTubers, when I look at their thumbnails, it has a certain editing style so that it's easy recognizable by the subscribers. Like, they have a certain format that they follow, and it's like, once you shoot that video, you know that it's aligned to such and such. So I think having a unique style that fits you, or a unique editing style that's like you, people will look at that and be like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. I love that. How does she do that? I want to see more of what he or she does. You could be using consistent logos, audio, fonts, colors. Think of your online presence almost like your personal brand. How are you going to market yourself? How are you going to stand out as a content creator in a saturated market of fitness creators, of fashion creators? What are you going to do that's different? Why should I stop and watch your video when there's so many people putting out similar videos? What makes you different? Next, understand that all the platforms are different. When it comes to the algorithm on Instagram, the algorithm on TikTok, and the algorithm on YouTube, it's all different. It's all different. I will post the same video on all 3 platforms, and even Facebook also, and I'll get different responses. Sometimes I'll get different views, I'll get different engagement, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, I thought this video was a hit. But just because it was a hit on TikTok doesn't mean that the audience or subscribers on YouTube are interested in that. I'm still trying to study these platforms. I feel like they all have a different personal touch to them, like different personalities in a sense, if that makes sense. Like, when I think of TikTok, I think funny, I think relatable, I think informative as well. But I know for the general population of those who use TikTok, they like just watching funny, relatable stuff. When I think of Facebook, I definitely think informative. I look at some of the comments on some of the posts that people put out on Facebook, and I see a lot of people going back and forth. I'm like, okay, these are the scholars in the comments. They're ready to debate. They're ready to speak about certain things. So it seems like a more mature audience on Facebook. And then I think of Instagram, and I think aesthetics. I think fonts, I think animation, they all have a different vibe to them. So you really got to understand your audience. And that's why it's so important to look at your analytics on these different platforms. See, do I have more men that are following me, more women that are following me? What's the age range? What times are they the most active? What countries are they even coming from? I think having a knowledge of that information helps you to tailor your content in a way that is a bit diverse and applicable to those in your target audience. But it's still a learning curve to me, because all these platforms, they have different audiences, different algorithms, and it's still something that I'm struggling with a bit. So that's something that I definitely think that you should keep in mind when you're starting out as well. Don't be surprised if you post a video on one content and it might flop on the other one. It's okay. It's a live and learn situation. Monetization takes time. Not everybody's going to be like a Risa Tisa. Not everybody's going to be like some of these random creators who will post a random video that'll end up going viral and create a series from it and earn X amount of money because of that. Like, that happens like once in a blue moon. It's not going to happen for everyone, and it doesn't happen like that on all the platforms. So understand that monetization is something that takes time. Like, when it came to YouTube, honey, when I was looking at the amount of watch hours, I was like, how am I gonna accomplish that many watch hours? And then I looked at the requirement for short views. I think it was like 10 million. I'm like, how am I gonna get that much? But through consistency and time, I was able to accomplish that. And then once I was a YouTube partner, I realized there was a whole nother milestone for me to meet as well to become monetized. So I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something else. So monetization takes time. Earning those big time brand deals, it takes time. Stop looking at what other people are doing and stop looking about their pockets. Stop pocket watching and just focus on you and where you are right now and build off of that. And also realize that there's so many different streams of income that you can explore, such as affiliate marketing, creating online digital products. You can do brand partnerships. There are so many different things that you can do aside from the revenue that may come with a certain platform like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. Like, there are so many things that you can do to earn money besides those as well. Next, and this should honestly go without say, it is about quality over quantity. I would rather post one good quality YouTube vlog a week than to post 5 YouTube vlogs every day and the quality is just suckish. Like, I'm talking, the lighting is dark, the information that you're putting out is not knowledgeable, it's not interesting, I don't care to watch it. Like, no. I would rather put out something that I know has great quality. I took the time to edit it, make sure everything was just right, than to put out something consistently trash. Let's be for real. And I think when we're putting out content, we really need to sit down and just be real with ourselves and say, you know what, would I watch this? If I was scrolling and I saw this thumbnail, would I click on it? If I watched my YouTube intro within the first 5 seconds, would I continue watching all the way to the end, or would I scroll away and go to something else? And it's a tough pill to swallow. Like, sometimes I've been making videos and I would just have to stop midway and be like, you know what, I'm really not feeling this and I'm not going to put it out. And sometimes it is annoying because you have a goal to put out a certain amount of videos in a day or in a given time frame, however, but you will have to realize that, again, this is your online presence, it's your brand, and you want to be known for putting out quality content. Sometimes you're just gonna have to say, you know what, I can't do this right now. I'm gonna put it on pause and I'll think of something else because right now I'm just not feeling it. And my subscribers, they deserve better than that. They deserve the best of me. Sometimes I like to, of course I utilize ChatGPT as well for different ideas, sometimes when I come to like a standstill, but I also like to look at other content creators and see what they're doing and see, okay, how can I add a twist on this? I like this idea. How can I add to that? I would do this differently, you know, just so I can keep up with the trends if there's a trend, or just look at things in a different perspective. Because also at the same time, sometimes we can get so used to doing a certain thing or talking about a certain thing or doing a certain style when something else could possibly work better. You know, even with thumbnails, sometimes you got to switch it up a bit. Sometimes you might have to add more colors or more visuals or different fonts. Like, you have to understand that you have to keep up with the trends, keep up with the times. Next, and this is something that I have to remember as well, but please remember to engage with your audience. I understand sometimes we get so excited with all the views and people are commenting, but we have to remember these are people with lives as well and busy schedules who are taking the time out to watch you, to watch your content. And I be looking at the duration of some of y'all little vlogs and stuff. Some of y'all be posting over an hour vlogs. Some of y'all be posting 2-hour vlogs. Y'all be posting just whatever. And people are taking the time out to watch that. You should be grateful. And a way that you can show thanks for that is just by responding. You could even like the comment, put a little something short. It doesn't have to be anything too long, but show that appreciation. Like, wow, you really took the time to watch my content. Like, I really appreciate that. And honestly, it's something that I struggle with, like especially on Instagram, because my following on there is a lot higher. And when it comes to comments, I can't always respond to everyone. Like, it's just so much on so many different videos. But I feel good within myself knowing if I comment back to at least the first like 10 or something, then I'm like, okay, I'm good. So it's something that I constantly have to remind myself to be intentional with, just responding to people and show them that I care. Like, I'm trying to build a following and a community of people. You know, I want us to be a little family. So my goal is to engage with my audience, and that should be your goal as well. And lastly, because I don't want to make this video too long, expect criticism and develop thick skin. Not everybody's going to enjoy your content. Not everybody is going to enjoy that which you put out, and that's okay. Some people might have constructive criticism, and we've talked about that in our previous videos, while some people, their goal is just to troll. Like, they'll say things about, oh my gosh, I remember when I first started out, people would always say such hurtful things to me in my comments. It came to a point where I had to just filter certain words because I didn't want to hear it. I would have to filter my comments in a way that the bullying and stuff would have to stop. People would make fun of my physical appearance. They would make fun of my face, my forehead, my eye. Like, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Like, just because you don't agree with my message doesn't mean that you have to come for me. Like, what? And my thing is, if my skin was thin, I would have stopped this a long time ago. But I had a goal. I have visions. Ignore the trolls, focus on the constructive feedback, and keep doing you. Don't let all these haters and all these trolls and no lives get to you, because that's their goal. They don't care. They have nothing else better to do. Misery loves company, and they're looking for someone to tear down. but you're looking to build up. So you're going to ignore those people and keep on doing you. Keep on being consistent and let them argue amongst themselves in the comments. Okay, I know I said that was my last point, but I think I want to make this one my last point, and that is to set boundaries. Do not allow content creation to take over your life. Like, set aside some personal time for you. Like this morning when I got home from work, my goal is usually to film in the morning time, but today I said, you know what? No, I want to sleep. I am so tired. I worked 3 12s in a row. I need a break. And I loved it. I was able to get some rest. I had some me time where I was able to do some things that I enjoy. Don't allow this to physically burn you out. You do not want to get burned out. I'm the type of person where I'm always thinking of different content ideas to come up with. Like, I'm always jotting things down on my notepad. Oh, this is something good. This is inspiration. Da, da, da. But sometimes I just have to turn my brain off and be like, no, you're not going to think content. You're not going to think about anything like that. You're just going to relax. And that's fine. Like, that's how I avoid burnout. Because if I want to put out my best, I want to be the best mentally, emotionally, holistically. Also, definitely set boundaries when it comes to privacy, you know, sharing certain aspects of your life. Not everything has to be accessible to the public. They don't have to know everything about you. They don't need to know where you go for your favorite day out. But like, it's important to keep certain things about yourself personal. Not everything needs to be put out there, and that's something that I had to learn as well. But yeah, be flexible, be willing to adapt. Understand that what may have worked yesterday might not work tomorrow, and that's okay. That's cool. That's why we're always examining ourselves and our content and seeing what we can do to possibly change things up and stay consistent with the times. But yes, guys, I really hope this video was informative, because becoming a content creator, it's definitely rewarding if you have a plan, if you are diligent, and if you are consistent. Not every day is going to be easy. Some days you're not even going to want to do it. But like my bishop says, you might not always feel motivated, but you should always be disciplined. Always remember why you started, and I hope that you reach your goals for this year and the following years to come. I'll see you guys in my next one. Shalom.